How's it going, everyone? John here, and welcome to the channel. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking to you guys about gear and equipment for whenever it comes to streaming. There's a lot of gear and equipment out there, companies trying to get into the space and everything like that, so it's pretty overwhelming. Some of this stuff's cheap, some of it's overpriced, some of it's just really expensive, and I don't even understand why. But I decided to kind of put together an essential key list of things that you're going to need, a few things you can upgrade, that way you're not blowing a hole into your wallet and possibly regretting buying this stuff. So I'd rather you guys, not spend thousands and thousands of dollars if you're not sure if you're going to stick with it. So that's what this video is about. But before I get into that, I want to talk about today's sponsor, which is Restream. So Restream.io is a service that I've used many times in the past and pretty recent, where it allows you to essentially choose multiple locations that you want to stream to. So whether that's like Facebook, Twitch, Trovo, YouTube, and so many other places. And you can stream to all of those at the same time with no issues with like resolution or anything like that. On top of that, they also have it to where you can put the chat all into one, so everybody can be part of the conversation. You can see everything. You don't have to have multiple windows open or anything like that. They also have a live studio, which is great for podcasts and showcasing different types of things on the screen. So if you're trying to do a demonstration of something, and so much more. So if you guys want to give them a test run for a whole month, use the link inside the video description below. It will save you $10 off of whichever plan you decide to go with. And I would love to hear from you in the comments what you guys thought about Restream when you go and try it out for the month. So let's go ahead and jump into what my key list is here. So the very first thing is a big one, and that is going to be your PC. So get a desktop computer, and here is my minimum requirements because I don't want to go into too much tech jargon. So for your processor, make sure it's at least a quad core with a 2.5 gigahertz speed or higher. Now, if you go higher that in your cores, that's fine. For your RAM, 16 gigabytes of RAM. For your graphics card, 1660 or higher. So 1660, 2000 series, 3000 series. Now, if you have like a 1060, 1070, 1080, that should be fine. But anything underneath that, no. Don't even do that. I don't know so much about the AMD cards, but like the 580 should be fine. But I'm not too familiar with AMD cards because I've never owned one. But for NVIDIA, those would be my recommendations. Now, also, to go with your computer, you want to make sure you have really good internet. Now, what I mean by really good is a minimum of 10 upload. The reason for that is because a lot of people are going to want to try to do, 1080p, 60 FPS, and stuff like that. And you want to make sure you have enough wiggle room for that. So with the internet speed, with the upload, you want to make sure it's also wired. Because if you don't have a wired connection, you're going to be having to deal with inconsistency with your actual bandwidth. So if your router is in a whole nother room, it's going to have to go through walls and every other type of object before it gets to the actual device. And the more stuff that it has to try to pass through, the weaker it gets. The more people that are on that Wi-Fi connection, the weaker it gets. So that's another thing too. So wired connection and a decent PC. That's the first one. All right, so number 2, audio. And audio does not only mean microphone. Audio also means your audio levels in your stream. So yes, microphone, key. So you can either do a condenser or a dynamic microphone. I'm not an audio guy, so I'm not going to go into all the jargon about audio stuff. All I'm going to say is you can get a decent mic for $50, or you can get a decent mic for like $100. So you can either spend $50 like a Blue Snowball, you can spend $100 on this. Well, it's more like $210 because of the cable and the interface. But yeah, I recommend only like spending like maybe $100 max on a microphone just starting out. That way you're not, throwing money out the window. Now, number 3 is going to be good lighting. This right here, my lighting, what I have is 2 desktop lamps from Walmart that clamp onto your desk. They're defused against my wall, so it bounces the light back out. The camera I'm using, though, is a DSLR camera, so I'm able to adjust a lot more with it. But I used to use a C920 for my webcam. But I only spent maybe like $40 on my lighting. You don't need to go and spend a big amount of money on lighting. I think Amazon, you can get like 2 LED panels that can clamp on the side of your desk for like $100. So that's also dimmable and everything like that too. If you want something like that, then what you can do is you can just get yourself a ring light. You can get yourself a ring light, and the ring light will allow you to just have that one light source come on you, which is fine. And then you can have your webcam sit right in the center of the ring light. You can even do that if you have a DSLR camera. Which then brings me to number 4, which is webcams. So webcams, you don't really need to spend a lot, maybe $100 or less. There are some of the ones that are more expensive, but you want to at least make sure it's HD. Whether it's 720p HD or 1080p HD, it's fine. So a C920, C922, those are perfectly fine. I have a C920, it still works. It's perfectly fine. It does the job. If you have a DSLR camera, you can try to see if maybe that works, but I don't recommend you guys spending $500 on a DSLR camera or more than that for you guys to have, 4K quality and stuff like that. If you're going to do that, just go and spend the $250 on AverMedia's webcam, because that's 4K. But again, we're trying to save money here. We're not trying to blow all the money. We're trying to have our essentials. So a decent webcam, C920, C922, perfectly fine. And then having yourself a key light for your good lighting. Or, if you have other type of lightings, like if your room itself is lit up enough, then maybe you don't need to have another type of light source. But you want to make sure that your webcam is getting a good amount of light, because that's what's going to make your webcam either look really bad or really good, which is why I mentioned a key light, so that way it picks it up. And then lastly is going to be for anyone who streams console games. If you stream console games, you need a capture card. Yes, there are other options out there, but just buy yourself a capture card. Because then not only will you be able to use a capture card for streaming, you'll be able to use the capture card to actually make some YouTube content when you're not streaming, and you'll have that high quality content, and that's what they're looking for. So instead of that grainy clip stuff that we get for whatever platform you stream on. Now, if you decide you want to upgrade stuff, when it comes to the PC, I always recommend 2 monitors. Two monitors. The reason for this, and shoot, I would even say have 2 monitors for your essentials, because having your stream on one and having your gameplay on another is how it should be. Trying to do that all on one is a pain in the butt. So if you can eliminate 1 monitor setups to 2 monitor setups, go for it. The next thing is when it comes to the lighting. So with the LED panels that I mentioned, it's better than going with the Elgato brand. But if you want to go with the Elgato brand, go for it. It's $200 for each light versus $100 or $120 for the LED panels. And then I live by this thing, a Stream Deck. I absolutely love this thing. I don't use it only for streaming. I use it for video editing. I use it for folders so it doesn't fill up my entire actual desktop. It is a lifesaver device, and it is useful beyond just gaming and streaming. So that is definitely something that I recommend you guys get. But hopefully this kind of gave you a better idea of some things, and if you want to add to the list, go ahead and drop a comment. If you found any of this useful, be sure to go ahead and subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon, that way you can get notified every time I upload a video or when I go live here on YouTube. And again, make sure you guys take a look at Restream.io, link in the video description below. Test it out for a month, let me know what you think about it, and I will see you all in the next video or in the next live stream. Take care.